Hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man, and today we're going back to the year 2004. It's a 2 to 4 player game, ages 10 and up, and takes about roughly 45 or so minutes to play. It is called The Downfall of Pompeii. Now this game plays in two different parts. The first part is you're slowly placing your people into the city, and then a big earthquake hits. The city comes crashing down, and so you have more people show up in the city to rebuild Pompeii. But then what happens in the second part of the game is when the volcano erupts and volcano tiles start being placed in the city, and if your people get taken by the lava, they literally get dropped into the volcano. The player that has the most people to escape Pompeii wins the game, and as a tiebreaker, whoever has the least amount of people that were thrown into the volcano wins the game. Crazy, right? Well, let's head on over to the gamers table, where I'm going to show you how to play The Downfall of Pompeii. All right, everybody, here we are at the gaming table with The Downfall of Pompeii. Let's take a look. All right, so as you see here, we have the game board. This is the city of Pompeii. You also have your little citizens, which look like little barrels, or you want a little hexagon, octagon. I'm not sure exactly what size these are, but anyway, you get 4 different colors: red, black, blue, and yellow. I'm going to go ahead and set up for a 2-player game here. So we're going to go ahead and put these back in the box. We also have your deck of cards, and you also want to take out your 2 AD 79 cards and your 7 Omen cards. You're going to place these aside temporarily. You also have your instruction booklet. That's right here. You also have your bag of volcano tiles. These are the tiles that in the second phase of the game, you will be starting to lay down the lava. All right, but you set this aside for the first phase because there's 2 different phases in the game. And the star of the game is the volcano. So what you'll do is you'll just take this on the outside and just clip it together like so. And there is your volcano. You place it right there, and there you go. And that's pretty much the components of the game. Now let's go ahead and show you the setup. The setup is a little tricky, so I'm going to try to make this as clear, as concise as possible, because it is a little bit of a process to get this all set up. Now, I already told you we're going to do the 7 Omen cards and the 2 AD 79 cards. We're going to set those aside for now. Eventually, these will go in the deck. Okay. So what you're going to do is after you do that, you're going to deal out 7 stacks of 4. And it does not matter how many players you have in the game, you always do this. So 7 stacks of 4. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you have your 7 stacks of 4. Okay? And before I go any further here, with the number of people that you have, if you have a 2 to 3 player game, you keep all 30 in here. If you have a 4-player game, you will take out 5. So you'll have 25 apiece. So I want to make sure I don't forget that. Okay. So after you do the 7 stacks of 4, you're going to have 25 cards left. Now, depending on the number of players you have, if you have 2 to 3 players, okay, you're going to have 15 of these cards you're going to keep. If you have 4 players, you will keep 10 of these cards. So I'll go ahead and count out 15, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have 15 cards here. I'm going to lay these temporarily to the side for right now. And now I have 15 cards. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and add these 7 Omen cards to the stack and shuffle. So make sure these are all nice and shuffled in here. You're just going to do a quick little shuffle, or like a truffle shuffle from the Goonies. Okay, we're going to go ahead and shuffle those in like so. Okay. All right, good deal. Then you're going to take one of these AD 79 cards, and you're also going to place it in the deck and shuffle it in. Okay. All right, like so. So we're going to shuffle it like so. Oops, make sure we keep them all nice and shuffled. Okay, now after you shuffle these, okay, this is going to be the bottom of the stack. This will be your bottom of the stack. You're going to take those cards that were remaining, all right, and you're going to put it right on top. So you're going to stack these right on top, okay? Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take that second AD 79 card and place it right on top here, okay? Next, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take 2 of these stacks, so it'll be 8 cards here, and place these on top of the stack. So you know that the 9th card that's going to be taken is going to be the AD 79 card. That will begin technically the first stage of the game when it comes to the relative area. Okay, so this will be your stack. Each player is going to go ahead and take one of these stacks. So this player will take this one. This player will take this one. And of course, if you had a 3 and a 4 player game, they would take one of these stacks as well. In this case, we only have a 2 player game. So the rest of these stacks are out of the game. So you can take these, whatever's remaining, and they go back in the box. Okay, and there we go. Whew! Okay, so that is how you begin. That's the starting of the game. Okay, or the setup, I should say. All right, so here's your draw stack right here. And now let's go ahead and begin. So in this part of the phase 1. The phase 1 is you're trying to get as many people as you can in the city. Phase 2 is when you're trying to get everybody out of the city as much as possible because the Vesuvius has erupted. So obviously the more people you have escape, that's what you're trying to do, because the object of the game is that if you are the one player that saves the most people out of Pompeii, wins the game. So obviously the more you have in here, the better chance of you having more people in here and saving more people so you can win the game. So what you're going to do at the very first part of the game is Team Yellow is going to look at their cards, and you'll see, let's go over these cards real quick. As you see right here, you have the number 1 card. There's 3 things you want to note on this card. First, the number that corresponds to the number building. Now you see the buildings have numbers on them. This is number 1, okay? You also want to look at the shade of like a blue, I guess you could say, and I guess it's like a lavender. And you'll see that it has the color here, you have a color here, and a color here that are the same. And that'll go into a little bit later when you go into the relative stage. That will come into play. You also have these people down here, these little icons. This kind of shows you how many people are in that building that you can have in that building. So you can see right here, building 1 has 4 spaces. So up to 4 people can fit in this one building. So those are the 3 different things you want to pay attention to once you go into the relative phase. But this is just the very beginning phase. So let's just say this player, yellow player, plays the 1. They're going to go ahead and play this 1. They're going to take one of their people and place it anywhere on one of these 4 spaces in building 1. Then you go ahead and draw a card. You always want to have 4 cards in your hand. Player blue over here is going to look at their cards and decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and play building 2. So they go ahead and do this. They look for building 2, and they're going to go ahead and place this. So you see this also has 4 people in it. And this has more of a purplish color. Okay, and then they go ahead and draw a card. They're going to look at it and make sure that they're looking for that AD 79 card. But you know it's 8 cards down. After the 8th card's played, you know that that card's coming up. So you pretty much know who's going to end up drawing that card, and you'll see why. So player yellow, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you these moves. He's going to go ahead and go in building 5. Building 5, yellow goes ahead and finds building 5 and places one of his people in there and draws a card. Okay. Player blue is going to go over here and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use 6. So he plays a 6. Blue goes over and goes into building 6, which is right here. Now you can see how this is separated. We got 2 different buildings here. They're kind of separated. One building has 3 people. One building has 4 people. Okay. This will come into play later on in the game as well. So he's going to go ahead and place one. He can place it in here or in here. Doesn't matter. In this stage, it does not matter where he places it as long as it's somewhere in building 6. He's going to go ahead and place it right there. Okay. And he draws a card. Goes back over to yellow. He decides to play 8. And you can see this is also a separated building, 2 and 3. So if you look over at 8, 2 and 3. So yellow goes ahead and places one in here. Draws a card. Then goes back over to blue. It's hard to pick up these cards on this table. There we go. And let's see, he goes to, let's see, he's going to go over to building 11. We haven't done building 11 yet. So he's going to go ahead and do building 11. You can see here it's 2 and 3. And you can see right here 2 and 3. So blue goes ahead and places one over here, draws a card. Now we're back over to yellow. Yellow goes ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and put one in 10. Yellow goes ahead, places one in 10 over here, and draws a card. Now, you know we're coming close to that AD79 card, and then we start the relative phase. He's going to go ahead and play a 6. And now he has a second person in 6. He's going to go ahead and place this one right over here. Okay? And then he draws a card. Now, we're getting really close to that AD79 card. He's going to go with building 3. So yellow puts one in 3. Draws a card. Oh, and now we have the AD79 card. Now, this is when play gets a little bit different. So now we have the first one. I'll go ahead and sit next to the volcano here so we know. Okay, now obviously you go ahead and draw another card. Okay, so you always want to have 4 cards. So once you draw the AD79 card, goes in different phase, you go ahead and draw another card. So you have 4 cards in your hand. Now in this phase is the relative phase. This is when you actually are able to place more people in the building than you normally could. And you see that those first 8 turns, you just put a single person in each building. Now this is where the colors come into play, okay? Yellow drew the card. Now yellow gets to look at their cards. And let's see what we got here. Yellow has a person in 10 over here, okay? So what this person wants to do is they're going to go ahead and place another one in 10. And I'm going to show you what this is all about here. 10. He plays the 10. He can either play one right here, okay? And if he does play one in here, these are technically 2 separate buildings, okay? These are actually, technically, they're 2 separate buildings, okay? So when he puts one in, and now in this case, this does not come into play, but in phase 2, it comes into play when they're in separate sections. But in this case, during this phase, if you just put it in the same building, the same numbered building, it counts. So I'm going to put this yellow one right here. Now you look at, there's any other people in here. There's one other person. It can be yours too. You can place one more person, in this case, in another color of this building. So let's say, for instance, I just laid this down. There's one other person in the building. I can place one other person in the 2 other brown buildings. Here's 11. All right. And what he'll do is he'll place this over in this building over here because he had one other person. Okay. And of course he draws another card. Now blue is going to go over here. Blue is going to look and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and place one in 6. So he goes ahead and plays a 6 card. Now look what happens here. He's already got 2 people in 6 already. So when he places this in 6, he gets to place 2 other players, okay, in another building. He can either go in another blue building, or like yellow could have too, you also have these little neutral buildings that you can place if there's another building that's not available. So in this case, you have 2 more for this 6. Okay, so here's the bright blue building. We have 9 over here, so you can go ahead and place another one, and he can place 2 other people. If he placed 1, there's 2 other people in this building. So blue can go over to 9, place 1 in 9, and he can choose to do one of the neutral buildings if he wants to. And he says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So he's going to go ahead and place one right over here. All right, and then he draws a card. Now we're going to keep doing this until the second AD79 pops up. Okay, this player is going to go ahead and look at their cards, and they say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to 10. He goes ahead and places a 10 card. Now, he places a yellow in this building here, and guess what? He has 2 other people in here. So you can either place another one in 11, and then he can place another one in any one of the neutral buildings. So that's what he's going to do. So he's going to go ahead and place one in 11, all right? And he's also going to place one in a neutral building. Let's say he just places it right here. Then he goes ahead and draws a card. Now let's go ahead and fast forward until I can show you what happens with the next AD79 card. Okay, so I sped up the game a little bit, and this is how it would look a little later on in the game when you're playing and you're placing your pieces on the game board. Now let's just say a player draws an Omen card. Now if you draw an Omen card, this is a card you play immediately. This is not one you hold on to. You're going to go ahead and play the Omen card right away. And what you get to do is you get to take one of your opponent's pieces anywhere on the board and throw him or her in the volcano. So let's just say blue drew this card. They can take any one of these yellows and place them in the volcano. Let's just say he takes this one here. Into the volcano it goes. And then that blue player would go ahead and draw another card. Okay. And then your play continues. Now, one thing I do want to mention is if one player draws a card number and it is full, let's just say here's building 2 and it's all full, there is no other room for this player, then what happens is it turns into a wild card. And you can place this in any building you choose, either if it's a numbered building or a neutral building. You have your choice. Until the second AD 79 card pops up. Once that second AD card pops up, okay, we're going to place it here, or you can place it anywhere on the board, doesn't matter. Excuse me. All the cards disappear. Okay? All these cards are no longer in play. Everyone gets rid of their cards. No more cards in the game. And this is when the tiles come into play. So all cards are removed from the game. We no longer need these anymore either. So we'll put these aside. The cards are now out of the game. Now we have the bag of lava, is what we call it. And what happens here is we start placing down tiles on the board. Now you'll see you got these 7 different gates on the outside. And this is where you're trying to escape through. Once you escape through those gates, your person is safe. And like I said at the beginning, whoever has the most people that exit Pompeii safely, that's how you're going to win the game. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and start passing this bag around. And we have these tiles that are in this bag. Now, at the very beginning of this second stage, you're going to draw one tile. And you're going to look at the very top corner and see what icon is on it. And you see there's 6 different icons here. Okay, like so. You have a scroll, you have a gold coin, you have a mask, you have a helmet, and then you have pottery. And of course, you have a temple here too. So you have 7 different ones in here. So what the first 6 plays are just strictly drawing a tile. That is it. So let's say blue is drawing first. Blue draws a tile, and you say it's a little scroll on top. So what you'll do is you're going to place it. The very first play is going to be on the scroll. All right, there we go. Now the yellow player is going to go ahead, and these actually are out of the game too. So any of these that were not used, you take these out of the game, because now we're just focusing on trying to get these people out of Pompeii. So you get rid of the cards, and you get rid of the remaining people that you have in your hand. All right, so the second person draws from the bag of lava and grabs a gold coin. See the gold coins up there? So you're going to go ahead and place it on the gold coin. Now it goes back to Blue's going to grab a helmet. So now we place it on the helmet square. Now it goes back to yellow. Yellow draws, another scroll. Okay. So when you draw another one of the same that you've already put down there, you need to lay this adjacent to the same icon that's on the board. Now, this is yellow that drew this. So obviously yellow is not going to want to put that here, because that means his person passes away. Well, guess what? There's a blue one here. So what happens is he lays down this tile here, and the blue gets thrown into the volcano. All right. Now we got 4 tiles on the board, so 2 more tiles remain on the board. Okay. Blue is a pottery. So the pottery, there we go. We can place that here. And then yellow gets the final draw here for the initial 6. It's the mask. Okay, so he draws the mask, and that goes here. Okay, so now the first 6 tiles have been pulled. Now we're going to start working on getting these people safely out of Pompeii. So now it goes back to blue. Blue's going to go ahead and draw a tile first. Blue draws a tile. He draws a gold coin. I wonder where he's going to put this. He's going to definitely put that right here, because that kills off this person here. And this person goes into the volcano. Okay. Now, blue gets to try to move any one of his people. You get 2 different moves that you can make. You cannot move the same person twice. Now, let's just say I want to try to get out. Obviously, I'm going to try to get out of here. So what I can do is, depending on how many people are in that square, is how many moves you get to make. So, for instance, if blue wants to get out of here a little quicker, he has, let's see, he has 2 people in this one. Okay. What he can do is he can move any 2 places adjacent that many spaces, that many people that are in here. So say we had 2 people in here, he can move his player 2 spaces. Like for here, 2, he has 2 people in this square here, so he can move 2 spaces as well. If we had something like, let's see if I can show you. Say I have something like this, okay? I have 3 people in here. I can move any one of these people 3 spaces, 3 squares to get out. So let's just say, let's go ahead and do that. That way I can show you. So blue's going to go, okay, I want to get towards a gate here. So what he wants to do is he's going to go 1, 2, 3. Now at this point, it doesn't matter placement. You can go any building, anywhere you want to go, because you're just trying to get out. So that player moved 3 spaces because there was 3 in there to begin with. Now you get to move a second player. And in this case, if I only have 1 player in here, I probably want to move this guy out of the way, because if another pottery is drawn, that person can be killed off. So I'm going to move, I only have 1 person in this square, so 1. Okay, and then that's my turn. Yellow goes ahead and draws a tile. They draw a mask. Okay, yellow drew a mask. Yellow can't see. Now, obviously, yellow's not going to put it here, obviously, and you cannot go diagonally. So he has to lay one next to it. So he's going to go ahead and place the helmet right here. And then yellow gets to move twice, 2 people. Obviously, he wants to get this yellow one out of dodge, because if another mask is taken, I can go ahead and place that there if I was the blue player. So 1. Yellow has now saved 1 person. You're going to put that in front of you. Now he has 1 more. Now, actually, this would be a good place to get another person out. We have 2 here, so he can move 2 spaces. 1, 2. There we go. He just saved 2 people on 2 turns. That is excellent. Okay. Now it's blue's turn. Blue's turn. Draws a tile. Draws a helmet. See, it's a good thing he got that person out of there. But what happens is, if I lay this here, that blocks that gate, and then that player, or any other player, cannot get out of there. And that is a legal move. You can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and say, haha, you can't get out now. At least out of that gate. Okay? And that's what happens there. So then blue is going to go ahead and move 2 people. So I might want to go, you know what, I'm going to move 1 here, and I'm going to move 1 out of here. Boom. Now blue has saved 1 person. That was 2 moves there. All right, now it's yellow's turn. Yellow draws from the bag of lava. And he has a pottery. All right, well, it looks like my guys are safe right there. He's going to go ahead and place 1 right here. Because yellow doesn't want to put 1 there in case yellow doesn't move this player. I can go ahead and kill him off. He places 1 here, and now he can move 2 of his players. Let's see what we got here. Yellow is going to go ahead and move. Let's see. He's going to move. He probably wants to get rid of get this out of there. So he's going to move 1 here, and he's going to go ahead and move 1 here by the gate. Okay. And now I think you pretty much get the gist of what I'm doing here. And the good thing is maybe trying to move your piece on a players that are players or spots that are on the same spot there. That way you can move more. Because if you're just on a single space every single time, you can only move that player 1 spot at a time. Where in this case, he moved over here. Now the next spot, if blue doesn't move, I can move 2 spaces that next time. You know what I mean? Or I can just go, like in this case here, I can move 1, okay? And then I can now move 3 spaces to get out of there. And I would need 3 to get out of here. See, I can go 1, 2, 3. Use that to my advantage. The more people are in that building, the more spaces you get to move. So like, you see what I just did there? I went ahead and moved 1 here, but now I got 3 people in there. So I can move this one. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of there. Yay. And there we go. And blue got out of there just using the amount of people that are in that square. You're going to go ahead and keep on doing this. Now, if something happens along the way, or let's just say this happened like this, you know, I'm not going to go by the icons here. But say, you know, someone gets stuck in an area that they can't get out of, like something like this. Obviously, that person automatically gets killed off and gets thrown into the volcano, okay? And that's pretty much what happens there. And that's pretty much the game. You're going to keep adding lava. You're going to try to get your people out. The person that has the most people out wins the game. And if there is a tie, then what happens is you would lift the volcano and see who has the least amount of people thrown in the volcano. In this case, of course, there'd be a lot more in here. In this case, blue would be the winner because he only has 1 in here versus the 3 that yellow have in here. And that, my friends, is the downfall of Pompeii. Now, there is one little variant in here, and it's 3 special tiles. 3 special tiles that are double-sided. So what you do is if you draw one of these, that player gets to choose which icon he wants to lay down. In this case, it would either be the mask or the helmet. You know, in that case. So these 3 tiles you leave out unless you want to throw this in as a variant. And that way when you draw it, you can actually choose which one you want to lay down. That's just a simple little variant that comes with this version of the game. And the game ends once all the tiles have been placed on the board. Once they're all on the board, if there are any remaining players on the board, they are unfortunately dropped into the volcano. Or if everyone has come out of Pompeii. Those are the 2 areas that would end the game, is when all the tiles have been placed or all the people have escaped. And there you have it. So let's head on over to the game room and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on the downfall of Pompeii. I really like this game. It's crazy how part 1 and part 2 are completely different. First part, you're placing your people out there. Then you get the warning of the earthquake. Earthquake hits, and now you're bringing more people in there because they're trying to rebuild the city. And then boom, here comes the volcano. You take the cards, you set them aside. You no longer are working with the cards, and now you're working with the volcano tiles. And you're trying to, depending on how many people are in each city, you're trying to get them out as fast as you can. If they get taken over by the volcano tile, you place them into the volcano. I can see why maybe some people are a little sensitive to that. Just because, I mean, it was a true event. Very tragic event back in the day. 2,000 plus years ago. So I can understand it might be a little touchy, but there's other games out there too that are based on real life that were tragic as well. Just like Kolika. The game I have, a Kolika, that is based on a true story, which I did while it was a long time ago, I did that episode, where it's during the Poland communist time where people are standing in line for days on end just trying to get food and supplies and furniture and stuff. And that game is fascinating how they did it. But then it keeps you in like, wow, wait a minute, people really went through this. And that's kind of what this game was too, is when you all of a sudden the volcano erupts and here comes the lava, people are scattering and get out of there. When you're playing, you're like, wow, people actually went through this. Wow. So, but setting all that aside, I think it's a great game. I think it is a great game. The setup is a little funky with all the cards, and then you put this in there, and then you shuffle this up, and then you put the Omen cards in there, and then you shuffle it up. I mean, it's a little weird setup, but once you have it set up and ready to go, and you start playing, it's a great game. It's totally different than what I've seen. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is a great game. If you can find it, get it. I'm going to give it a thumbs up just because I love it. I think it's a great game. You know, like I said, setting all that aside, the real life stuff. It's a really cool game. I like the way that the tiebreaker is, where you lift the volcano and whoever has the least amount of people in there wins the game. At least they didn't put little meeples or little people. I mean, luckily they put little barrels, so your thought process isn't like, oh, these people are going in there. I mean, they're like little barrels, so at least it's at least they made it like that, so it made it a little better, if so. But anyhow, that is my review and thoughts on the downfall of Pompeii. If you can get this, get it. I did find this over at McKay's. Used my store credit for it, and I'm very, very happy I did. I got it for $20.95. That's how much they sold this for. So if you can get it for cheaper than that or around that price, I think it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth that price. Yeah, it says, "Can you escape the inferno?" That's what it says here. So yeah, I think it's well done. It's great. I love the components are nice in it. The components are great. The board's not too huge or anything. It's actually really well done. It's a lot of fun. Try it out. See if you can find it. And thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate your support. And as always, happy gaming.